Sup you beautiful people. Hope you've had a fantastic day. Welcome back to a brand new episode of What If Deku Was an Artificial Human. All for one preparing Noumu decides to deviate from his normal methods to try and make a new type of Noumu. Sentient Noumus, Noumus that could think for themselves. However, a young Shigaraki expresses want for a sibling. So he decided to kill two birds with one stone. However, to do this, he required one to be younger than Tomura and to have no quirk. If you guys enjoyed this what if, comment down below and let me know. And go ahead and check out other what ifs in the channel. After watching this video, don't forget to shower some appreciation onto the incredible author responsible for this fanfiction. The link is conveniently waiting for you in the description box down below. Before we get into it though, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, and also share this video with your friends. So let's start this video. Izuku waited for the results to return after the exam. However, he had to wait at a new location. In order for them not to find Sensei or their hideout at the bar, Izuku had to wait at a temporary fixed address until he got his results back. As soon as he got the results back, he would leave immediately. "Excuse me, are you Izuru Yamakumo?" asked a man as Izuku looked up in his Izuru disguise. "Here's a letter for you." "Thank you, sir," he politely said as he took the envelope from the man's hands. He looked down and saw it had UA's symbol on it. This was the letter. Izuku walked back into the house he was temporarily staying in as the occupants of the house were conveniently away on holiday. However, he stated that he was moving homes in a few weeks. Thankfully, UA bought it. He opened the fridge and helped himself. What they knew didn't hurt them. Afterwards, he left the house having moved and without leaving evidence of him being there. He came back to the bar and opened the letter, which dropped some sort of disc, which then played a recorded video of his results. How did he do? He got in. He was accepted. Perfect. He had successfully infiltrated UA, but now he had to go to school. His head slammed onto the desk as he was back in his original appearance. He released a groan into the wood that did nothing to stop him before he moved his head enough to the side. Plus side? He got to kill All Might much easier now. However, there was still the fact he had to go there for some time. But he could definitely bring back useful gadgets and possibly make a profit. One thing he heard when listening to Hatsum was the fact that companies would express interest in their inventions. So that was another plus. Another one was the fact that there were many quirks too. Sure, he couldn't really get away with abduction when a nice quirk popped up. But it was good to note. Izuku stood up from his desk as he went to tell the good news to the others. "Guess what?" he said as he entered the bar. Kurojiri and Tomura both looked at him. "What?" they asked. "I got accepted into UA. Congratulations, Izuku." Kurojiri congratulated the team. "So now we have our spy." Tomura smiled. "But still, for you to go to school surrounded by the enemy in their territory, can't say I'm not worried. I'll be fine. As long as I keep up the persona of Izuru, I'll be fine. But to think, All Might would be teaching there. You got to be careful, Aizu." "I will, Tomura, and I will." Tomura let out a small sigh of relief. "So you managed to get into the support course," the voice of Sensei said through the monitor. "I suppose congratulations are in order." "No, it's fine, Sensei." "Nonsense. You are undertaking a major assignment, a dangerous one too," Sensei said. "Besides, I'll know you won't let us down." "Thank you, Sensei." The youth bowed his head to the monitor. "Stop around later, Izuku. I got something to give you." "I will, Sensei. But first, Kurojiri." Sensei called out to the shadow man. "Yes, sir? Bring out the favorites." Kurojiri nodded as he went and brought out their favorite foods. Toshinori Yagi sat at a desk at UA as he went through his future notes. He would be teaching soon. He needed all the practice he needed, or else he would be using crib sheets and palm cards. Just then the door opened to reveal the principal. "Yes, it's I," he said. "The lovable principal and mascot of UA. You don't know if I'm a mouse, bear or dog." Principal Nedzu Yagi didn't finish as he spouted blood as the principal arrived. "What was this? A sitcom or something? Are you okay?" the mouse named Nedzu asked. "I'm fine, principal," the blonde confirmed. "What brings you here, principal?" "Just here to say that the support course examinees have gotten their results." "And how's it looking?" "Well, this year we might have a smaller year. All three classes usually outnumber the hero course, but this year it seems we have a smaller group. Around the same size of the hero course? Even smaller than that?" the blonde asked the mouse. Yes, indeed." The mouse lifted himself onto the chair next to the teacher. "It also depends on how many hero students get into UA too, especially if those students end up having Aizawa-san as their teacher." "Oh yes, I just looked at Aizawa's teaching record," Toshinori said. "Over 150 expulsions. It would be a miracle if the hero course can get more heroes. Aizawa does make it hard, doesn't he? Nedza asked. But you understand his intentions, do you not? I do, the skeleton said. He expels those who don't have the qualifications of being a hero. I understand, some slip through the cracks and pass the exams but do not have heroic qualifications. But it seems we have an interesting bunch of students though, Nedza said. The support course students that passed were very interesting. Yagi looked at the principal with wide eyes. What makes you say that? I see the student you were interested in, was all Nedza said, seeing as Toshi did a spit take with his blood. He spits out blood the same way as you said. However, he seemed to hold it in for a good amount of time, only spitting it out when we weren't looking. I swear, seeing both him and you spit, I wouldn't be surprised if you two were related or something. Just from the way we spout out blood? Yep. The mouse nodded innocently. So, did he pass? Izuri Yamakumo? He passed. Got his envelope recently too. Tashinori released a sigh of relief he didn't know he held. I see. It seems like he's already getting along with future support classmates already. Oh, you mean at the support course free meal? Yep. You did sound worried about him making friends here, especially with his health condition. Yeah. The man nodded. With a health condition like that at a young age, it would be very hard to make friends. Well, it seems young Yamakumo and young Hatsum have gotten off to a good start. Oh, that reminds me, principal, the teacher said as the mouse started pouring some tea. You're also overlooking the support course, right? That's right. The mouse smiled as he handed him a cup. Here you go. Oh, why thank you. Even though heroes are important, a person like me prefers the support course, he admitted. Thanks to my wonderful quirk. Yes, high spec. High spec. A quirk that granted the principal intelligence surpassing that of humans. He was also an extremely rare case of an animal that manifested a quirk. The mouse nodded as he sipped his tea. Very interesting lot, he said in between sips. Probably quirkier than the future hero course kids. He laughed, slipping a little bit of tea. Oops, don't worry sir, I'll clean it later, Tashinori said. But I do have to wonder who their homeroom teacher is. Why don't you have a look? Is it Power Loader? He is taking over the other course's development classes. Well, Aizawa is taking the hero course class along with Ken taking the other if there's another class, the man said. F, G, and H. I would have assumed that Power Loader would take one of the homeroom positions along with the development classes. While the hero course had classes focused on heroics, the support course had classes focused on developing gadgets. Power Loader focused on work in the development studio, and so did the students of the support course. So his rotating between the three classes' development time? He asked the mouse. Yes. The support students also have a free inventing period too. But Power Loader wanted to be safe and would rotate between the three classes when their development periods came up. I'm guessing that Yamada would be doing English lessons and Ishiyama would be doing modern literature? Correct. Tashinori picked up the class lesson periods of the support classes. Homeroom, English, modern literature, development classes that have been extended. I got to say it works. More time to develop gadgets and important. It's why they are in the development of support in the first place. I wonder who the homeroom is, he stopped as he looked at the person and back to Nedzu. Really? Is there a problem? Well, for freshmen, this is a drastic change for them. It'll be fine. Besides, it's only homeroom. Tashinori looked at the mouse and sighed. He could only hope it would be alright. Izuku was wearing his villain outfit, the one that gave him a classy look. He fixed the black vest over the popped collar white button-up long-sleeved shirt, and placed his black dress shoes on. He walked out of the bar with his hands in his black suit pant pockets, as he roamed the city at night. This is definitely my style, he thought as he entered a building covered with neon lights. He could already hear the music growing louder and louder. It was almost deafening. At least the music was good though. The room was dark with the only lights being on the dance floor. The squares on the dance floor changed color quite frequently as the music was being blared. It wasn't just any songs but rather music without any vocals aside from the few noises in the songs. This was the nightclub known as DS1, also known by its more common name Death Star. It honestly looked like a space station on the inside. Plus there were some talks of DS2 as well being built on the other side of the city. Izuku made his way through the club and sat on a very comfortable seat that curved around a table. These places were good for various reasons, like wasting your time away either by yourself or with friends, meeting new people, mainly that of the opposite sex, dealing in shady business with other villains. Wait, what? Yes, Izuku was here for a sole reason, and it wasn't to meet girls. On the similar seat behind him a man sat down. He had gray hair with side bangs, a tiny mustache and a tiny goatee and a gap between his front teeth. He wore gray, round glasses, and his eyebrows were always drawn up in the middle and seemed to be squinting. He wore a purple blazer with a white button-up shirt and a fluffy scarf that resembled intestines in shape and color. He had a lit cigarette in his mouth before he blew smoke out. "Evening, Izuku," the man said without looking at the green-haired teen. "Evening, Jiren." Jiren let out a low whistle. "When I heard Kurojiri said you got a new style, I wasn't expecting that." Izuku smirked. "I reckon it suits me honestly. So what's your poison today?" he asked. Izuku knew the true meaning of the words though. "We need some easy disposables." "Ah, I can manage to gather something up. Anything specific?" "Here." He handed Jiren a small note. "That list has the specifics we need. However, we need some disposables along with them." "Got it," he said as he stood. "How much?" He then felt something touch his hand. It was rolled up bills, and a lot of rolled up bills. "That's only to start, as the rest is after you get them," Izuku said. "And remember, the money is only enough for disposables with the few exceptions of those on the list." "Understood," the man said as he counted his money. "Pleasure doing business with you. I'll arrive at the bar later." Izuku watched as Jiren left as he remained at his seat. Let Jiren leave first before he moved. The music changed as he ordered a drink. As he listened to the music and remained in the darker parts of the club, he decided to do some scouting. Potential allies and enemies alike could be here. Right now, he was chilling like a villain. However, someone did catch his eye. She seemed to be around his age, and the most eye-catching part about her was her appearance. She had pink skin, unruly, short pink hair with yellow horns protruding from her head. However, he couldn't help but look at her eyes. She had black scara with yellow irises. She was currently on the dance floor dancing away, wearing black clothing with some gold lines which only matched her skin. The way she danced on the floor was hypnotic. The way she moved her hips, swung her arms. She owned the dance floor and no one could compete with her moves. Their eyes briefly locked as he didn't break eye contact with her as he sipped from his beverage. She winked at him before going back to the dancing as he pulled out his phone. "Hello?" "Yes, I just talked to Jiren." He waited for whoever was on the other side to stop. "Yeah, I'm on my way back. Just did a little sightseeing here is all." He stood as he made his way out of the club. He looked back at the nightclub that was now behind him. He just might have to come back. He just found someone interesting. Izuku was sprawled on the couch as he faced the ceiling. It had only been a night, and soon his lessons for 3 years at UA will begin. He had already got the UA uniform and the UA sports uniform, so he was set for the most part. Kurojiri had told him that he required books, pens, and a bag to hold it all. He told him to go shopping. Izuku's response was that he'd go later, so he was going now. He got up and donned his Izuru disguise. Didn't need anyone with a keen eye that saw Izuku buy the bag and Izuru wearing it. "Hey, bro," he called out to Tomura. "Want anything while I'm out?" "Nah," he said. "I'm good." Izuku nodded as he left. "Bag, pens, books." He repeated Kurojiri's list for his school needs. So where was he going for his shopping needs? The Kyoshi Ward shopping mall, also known as Wookiees. There he got a one-strap bag, a couple of books with some pens. That was it. Nothing more. Until he left, that was. With his new bag on with his books and pens inside, he stopped as he saw a battle between heroes and villains. He didn't get far from the shopping mall, and he was already treated to a site of battle. Well, it was time for info gathering now. Izuku ducked into an alleyway and thanks to some quick moves ended on the building's roof, where he now looked down at the fight. The first hero who arrived on the scene was a man wearing a black unitard with a wood helmet, wooden gloves that reached past his forearm, a wooden belt, and wooden shoes. This was the hero known as Kamui Woods. A hero Izuku had seen before. The screaming fangirls also confirmed it was Kamui Woods. The hero used his Quirk lumber to generate wood from his arm. The wood from his arm sprouted into many branches resembling a tree in winter, as the villain easily moved around each branch before jumping off the side of the buildings into the air. That's when the second hero turned up. She had long, voluminous blonde hair with 2 curled strands and violet-colored eyes with white pupils. She wore a purple and cream-colored skin-tight bodysuit that is accented with orange stripes. The bodysuit also has 3 peculiar orange diamond-shaped dots on the purple top that are located under her chest. She also wore a purple domino mask with horn-like protrusions on the sides. This was the hero named Mount Lady. Another hero that Izuku had seen before, wasn't her dead a few months ago. Using her quirk of gigantification, she grew into a giant of around 2,000 meters. Maybe a little more or a little less, he wasn't really counting. She threw her arm to catch the villain, and as her hand captured the villain escaped the same way he escaped Kamui's quirk. Izuku watched as the villain escaped from the 2 heroes. However, Kamui Woods was right behind the villain, using his branches to pull himself to the buildings they latched onto. Mount Lady, due to her giant form, could easily cover the ground quicker. Izuku had to admit, he was quite impressive. It didn't look like the villain had done any crimes. Except for using his quirk. There it is, there it is, there it is. And there was Mount Lady's fans, alright. Was it a coincidence that they always showed up together at a few fights? Probably, but that wouldn't stop anyone from spreading rumors. Reminder to self. Izuku lost interest as he hopped back down and headed back to the bar. Oh, where are you going? Tomura asked as he was leaning against the bar. Out? The younger teen said with slight confusion. Tomura let out a low, dry chuckle. Don't lie to me, Aizu, he said as a bead of sweat trailed down Izuku's face. Tomura's hand lashed out as he then ruffled the green-haired teen's hair. So, who is it? Huh? He looked at Tomura with confusion. Last night you came back to the bar, and even though you said you just talked to Jiren and had a drink, there was this look in your eye that said someone caught your interest. Tomura, Kurojairi said as he placed the clean glass down. You should tease Izuku. Thank you, Kurojairi, but he is going through puberty, isn't he? The mist-like bartender said as he looked over to the dressed-up Izuku wearing his villain outfit. I do have to say, I'm also curious to find out. Curse you, Kurojairi. I trusted you. I bet you it's a girl. Of course it's going to be a girl. Do you not see who he lives with? The bartender asked. Guys, well, it is a sausage feast. I wonder what type of girl it is. I hope it's not a cougar. Kurojairi started cleaning his glass a little too fast. It better fucking not. The older brother hissed as he disintegrated a shot glass. Language. Also stop destroying my glasses. I'm just going to leave now, Izuku said softly as he already made his way to the door. No, I'm not taking any chances, Tomura shouted. I'm gonna kill that cougar hussy. You don't even know if it's a cougar. Besides, it could be a girl around his age. We'll just get Aizu to tell us. Aizu, Tomura and Kurojairi turned to see that he had already left. You scared him off. Me? Tomura leaned back in shock. Weren't you the one who brought up the possibility of a cougar? Kurojairi looked shocked. I said I hope it's not. I didn't say it could have been. The light on the monitor flickered out as Sensei just sat in the room with the Noumu. I heard nothing. He decided that he didn't hear it. He didn't want to get involved. Izuku was back at DS1 sitting at one of the higher seats that overlooked the dance floor below. The 15-year-old watched the dancing below as he leaned against a railing. Thanks to practicing for the exams, it kinda slipped his mind that he had turned 15. Either way, the music started softly to ease into the beginning of the night before getting progressively louder. More people would find themselves on the dance floor as the night progressed. However, for certain people, days of enjoying yourself were coming to a close. For those like him who were going into the support course or those who managed to get into the hero course, they couldn't waste time with small luxuries anymore when they became a hero. Well, they could, just not long enough anymore. I'll take a Kagan Jin, he said to the employee who approached him without turning his head. The lady nodded before going off to fetch the drink. As he rested against the railing, he saw a tuft of unruly pink hair as he raised his eyebrow. She must be a real partygoer if she came back 2 nights in a row, or could have been more. For all he knew, she came here every night. However, instead of being on the dance floor, she was walking around it. She looked like she really enjoyed dancing last night. The music was getting louder as she looked around. Perhaps she was looking for a seat? He could understand that. But with how early it was, being only 8, it was still fairly light compared to the later times the other night-goers came in. Well, it would be pouring in soon. He stopped as the lady from before came back with his drink, as he paid for it. He looked back down just as the pink-haired and skinned girl had looked up. Their eyes locked with one another once more. She sent him a smile followed by a small wink before she left his field of view. He wasn't going to lean further over the railing. Waste of a drink otherwise. He sat on the large seats as the lights changed colors and the music blasted. Now the real party was getting started. Yet, it was still soft enough to be able to hear when others talked. And yourself too. Hey there. A cheerful voice called him from behind. He turned to see the pink-haired girl from a few seconds ago. Hello? He greeted as he took a sip from his drink. And from the look of it, she got a drink as well. A stormtrooper, if he recalled. He might have to get a Vader after his current drink. The pink-skinned and haired alien-like girl made herself comfortable on the seat opposite of him. She had a wide smile that could be seen as a grin to some. I didn't think you'd show up again, she said before she winked. Did you see something you liked? I did, he replied bluntly. I saw something that interested me. Was it my looks or my dance moves? She asked with a growing grin. Your eyes mainly, he said. But the other two are definitely up there as well. Aren't you a charmer? She said with playful words. The names Mina Ishido, Izuku, Shigaraki. Izuku placed his drink on the glass table as he talked to the pink-haired teen. She was definitely lively. You took a bit of time with that last name. You're not lying to me, are you? I'm not. Shigaraki is just my adopted last name. He told her as her mouth made an O shape from understanding. Ishido fiddled with her drink at the newly created awkward tension. Is something that matter? He asked. I just wanted to say sorry. You must have gone through rough times? He never broke eye contact as he drank. Yeah, I don't want to bother you with the details. That's not what a nightclub is for. Ishido nodded as she smiled. So, you're not too left-footed, are you? I'm too right-footed. He glanced to where she was looking at. I never danced before, never needed to dance. If anything, her grin grew to predatory size. It's easy, you just got to move your body. As long as you're having fun, it's alright. She grabbed his hand and pulled him towards the dance floor. As he looked at her, he found one word that described her. Light. A bright shining light. She was practically glowing. But that could also be the club lights. Now he was trapped on the dance floor. How was he going to get out of this one? He looked around at the other people dancing. Despite coming here before, he usually came here for business and a couple of drinks. He took note of the people dancing, but he didn't really care. Now, as he was on the dance floor, he was taking in the others' dancing styles. They were just moving their bodies to the beat, not caring if they may or may not look like fools. So improvised, got it. So improvised he did. He went along with it all. The music was loud enough to hold a private conversation with a person if you were close to them. Now you're getting it. The black and yellow-eyed girl said. It's not that hard. No, I suppose you're right. He was getting the hang of it. So tell me a bit about yourself. He heard her say despite the sudden drop. Not much to tell. Orphaned at a young age and adopted really. He told her. That was pretty much his backstory anyway. What about you? Not much. Just your average family life. Loving parents. Boring school life, and I'm sorry. During her story, when she mentioned loving parents, his lip twitched. No, it's fine. They've been dead for years. May I ask how many? You just did. Well, I was 4 when they died, so about 11 years. Ishido didn't feel like the best person now. But hey, I got an older brother now, he said with a smile. Well, an older brother and one who I can't decide as a brother or uncle, and a person that's like a father to me. Ishido smiled when she saw his smile as he thought about his adoptive family. So this was the type of smile a hero was meant to protect. After whatever you want to call it on the dance floor, they returned to the seats with a refill on drinks. It seems like some of the people here know you. Do you come here often? The pink-skinned girl asked as he waved his hand in a 50-50 motion. No, sometimes I pop around, he said. You on the other hand seem like a regular. Hee, kind of. I don't come every night, but with some recent things happening like getting into my dream school, I thought I spend most of my free time having fun until then. Yeah, starting in a few days, I will be very busy. He stirred his drink a bit. It's best to have the time of your life now before you get swamped with work of any kind. I can drink to that. She nodded. Can you really? I don't think you're the right age to drink, he said with a sly smile. It's just a saying. She defended herself with a dark lilac blush. I'm not actually going to drink alcohol. His smile grew a little. Who said anything about alcohol? Huh. But that's the only thing that could be applied to. Non-alcoholic drinks maybe? He offered. While it is legal in pubs, a majority of those pubs will not sell them to minors. She only pouted at him before they both had a laugh. They talked a bit more into the night before Izuku placed his second finished drink down. Well, it was nice meeting you, Ishido. He politely nodded. But I must take my leave now. It was nice meeting you, Shigaraki. Please call me Izuku. It might get confusing if you ever see me with my brother. Only if you call me Mina. Sure. He nodded. See ya, Mina. He waved as he left the nightclub. In a few days he would be infiltrating UA, and that was one step closer to killing the symbol of peace. Izuku wore the UA uniform as he headed towards the high school. Donning his Izuru Yamakumo persona, he approached the school's gates. The past couple of days he spent preparing for the attack on All Might, or in his free time, he actually met up with Mina a few times. Now the persona entered onto the school's grounds and approached his class. 1H. He muttered as he walked down the hallway. He soon came across said classroom before he walked in. It was pretty empty aside from a few people. As it turned out, quite a few Hero Course students got in. But there was a rumor of expulsion on the first day. Right now this year's support course divided into F, G and H classes were smaller than the 2A and B hero classes. Yes, F, G and H combined were smaller than the 40 students of the hero course. But then that expulsion rumor he heard from a senior. "Hey there, Yami." He turned to see Hatsum wave as he approached her and got to a nearby desk. These desks were really designed with the purpose of inventing gadgets in mind. It kind of reminded him of a small workshop. "Seems we are in the same class after all," he said as he took his bag off as he waited for homeroom. "Wonder who our homeroom teacher is," he wondered as Hatsum brought up the mention of Power Loader. "Settle down," their homeroom teacher said as she walked in. The class was expecting this. Isn't this sort of thing not allowed in a high school?" Their homeroom teacher was a very beautiful woman with long, spiky black hair and blue eyes. The problem was her outfit. She wore a black breastless leotard over a white bodysuit, which emphasizes her breasts along with translucent black thigh-high stockings and black knee boots. She had a small mask outlining her eyes, a handcuff on each wrist, and a utility belt around her hips. Basically, she was wearing a dominatrix outfit. Their teacher was a dominatrix. Wait a second, what was that in her hand? Oh, in her hand was a flogger-style whip. She was carrying a small whip. "What the actual fuck? I'm your homeroom teacher, Nomuri Kayama." She introduced herself as she flicked her hair back. "It's a pleasure to meet you all. Is she allowed to wear that? That's pretty rated. Does this count as sexual harassment?" The very small class murmured to themselves as she used her whip at her desk. "Hey, I'm trying to make my debut as your homeroom teacher here." Izuku had stood up and walked out of the classroom to look at the sign. "And what are you doing?" "Making sure I was in the support course and not the S&M club," he replied with a blank look. "Just sit down." As Azura took his seat, the teacher did her introduction again. "As many of you might know, I am the hero known as Midnight," Midnight said. "But as I said before, I'm your homeroom teacher, Nomuri Kayama. In class you can call me by my hero name, Sensei or Kayama-sensei." She then sat on top of her desk and crossed one leg over the other. "What's with that pose?" She was definitely using her sex appeal. The students and their teacher looked at one another for a second before she sighed. "Are you sure you guys are teenagers?" She sighed as she went and made sure everyone in the class was there. No absentees. Good. Now, due to the small size of the class, I believe we will all get to know each other pretty quickly in a short amount of time. The small group of students looked at each other and back at the homeroom teacher. "Hey, don't give me those looks." Due to the small size of the class, Midnight had told her students that they should spend this time to get to know each other better. So that's what they began to do, introduce themselves to one another personally. They would have their own circles after this anyway. Izuku already knew of Hatsum and vice versa. Due to talking to her at the exam, he gathered all that he needed to know about her for the most part. In the corner of his eye, he saw him. He had pale white skin, a red nose and lips, black rings around his eyes with a small pointed line at the bottom, blue teardrops underneath the corners of his eyes. He also sported light brown neck-length hair that was swept back and framed his face. He also had a pair of turquoise eyes. It was a clown, and from the way he scratched his chin, that was his real skin color. Poor guy. Must have sucked if he used to go to school with those aphobia. He walked over and introduced himself to the clown. "Izuru Yamakumo," he said with a smile and held out his hand. "Sozoshi Fukudashi," the clown replied. "And if you're wondering, the skin's natural. All of it." Sozoshi scratched the back of his head. "But most people call me Joker." "Huh, thought they might have called you clown," Yamakumo murmured. "But enough about that. I hope we get along for the remainder of our school life." "Hope so. And that over there is Hatsum," he said as he turned to her, and she was already trying to invent something. "Hatsum, what are you doing?" he asked as she just looked right up at him. "I just got an idea for my latest baby." She smiled. "Yami, while you're there, can you pass that screwdriver over?" The day progressed for the students of 1H. Izuku had sat with Hatsum and Fukudashi around a table. Calling it a table, however, wasn't really a normal school table and more of a workbench. Hatsum was tweaking away at her first official UA invention. Joker was just keen on talking with them as Izuku was checking the lessons of the day. "Die!" a voice in the distance shouted. "What was that?" Joker asked as Jei heard the screams of some man. "Who knows?" Hatsum said as she squinted at the device in her hands. "Probably some short-tempered kid losing it." Yami added his 2 cents. "Probably got expelled that caused it." "What makes you say that?" Joker asked with wide eyes. "HM? Oh, I overheard some seniors talk about a teacher that was pretty famous for expelling kids in the hero course classes." "Seriously?" The clown's jaw dropped. "No, I'm pretty serious." Joker slid back in his seat. "Man, sucks to be them then." "Maybe, but I think it'll be better for us." "Huh, well, we are creating gadgets for the hero course students, and would be one day helping them and upgrading their costumes. Izuru told the clown. With 39 hero course kids and with how small our support course year is, I don't think I need to mention why. I'm actually hoping that some of them don't make it now. We are definitely understaffed. Understaffed? Maybe. The pink-haired girl grinned. But we're definitely more than enough when it comes to making these gadgets. We got into this course to create the things that appear in our mind. It doesn't matter how many I need to create, or how many heroes I have to help. As long as I can create more babies, I'm happy. So what you're saying is that you just want to create more inventions. You don't really care about anything else, the two thought. It was now a break for lunch at the cafeteria that was ran by Lunch Rush. Izuku had just gotten his lunch with Hatsum and Joker right behind him, somewhere. So now he was looking for a table for the three of them. There was a table enough for four, but it seemed a single person was at it. He had wavy, purple-blue hair, thin eyebrows, and very noticeable bags under his eyes. He was pretty tall, had jagged teeth, and had noticeable double eyelids. Mind if I sit here with a couple of classmates? He asked as he sat down before the blue-haired teen could even comprehend what was happening. Who are you? The blue-haired teen asked. The dark purple-haired teen had tilted his head slightly as he looked in the other teen's eye. Izuru Yamakumo. The blue-haired teen briefly wondered if he should use his quirk, but decided not to as he introduced himself. Hitoshi Shinso. Izuku then raised his hand calling over Hatsum and Joker. This is Hatsum and the other you can just call Joker, he insists. I only insist because everyone calls me Joker regardless. Joker deadpanned. Joker had taken the spot next to Hitoshi. Do you mind if I introduce you? Izuru asked as the blue-haired teen shook his head. The blue-haired teen had introduced himself, and man it was like he was kind of dead on the inside. So what class are you in? Joker asked, the only one at the table not in 1H. The three of us are in 1H. The blue-haired teen's eyes widened a little. 1H? Isn't that one of the support classes? That's right. We get to make our own babies. Now Shinso was confused. Babies? Izuku had stolen Hatsum's invention. Eat, don't work on your invention, he said, causing the girl to pout and try and get her device back. Sorry about her, she calls all her inventions babies. Right, what about you? What class are you from? 1C, the Department of General Education. He sighed. What's wrong? Izuru asked as he held the device to his side, trying to keep it out of Hatsum's grasp. It was pretty difficult, Shinso sighed. It's nothing, it's got to be something. Hatsum added. Now give me my baby back, Yami. Only if you stop fiddling with it when you should be eating. He shot back. I didn't make it into the hero department, he revealed. Those who don't make it into the hero department end up in the general education department, or the management department. I would have assumed they make the classes even seeing as there's only 39 of them, Izuku said as he ate after giving Hatsum's baby back. That will cause some problems. Izuku returned his attention back to the blue-haired teen. There has to be a reason why you didn't get in. Shinso just started at him. It was the practical. My quirk interfered with the rules, he told them as he stared at his food. The participants are not allowed to interfere with other competitors, and my quirk revolves around that. What is your quirk? Shinso took a deep breath. Brainwashing, he said a lot softer than his almost dead words before. I can mind control people who verbally respond back to me. I can control more than one, but after they respond, it's up to me whether I'm willing to use my quirk. It was pretty silent at the table. Here it comes. The blue-haired teen got prepared for their reactions just as Izuku leaned over the table. That's awesome, he said. Imagine what you could do with that. Villains could automatically hand themselves over to the cops and hostages could be saved much more easily with the villains just handing them over instead of the whole negotiating thing. You really think so? He asked as the purple-haired teen nodded. Of course, they were stupid not to make you a hero. Izuru smiled. I hope I'll never have to say that again, he thought. He hated heroes, but this was all for the sake of being a spy. Isn't the sports festival actually pretty close by? He then brought up. I think if you do well at the sports festival, and especially with your quirk, they might move you into the hero course. They do need to even the numbers out. But man, apparently none of those hero kids got expelled by their teacher who was infamous for it. Joker sighed. More future work for us. I can't wait. Shinso then turned back to Yamakumo after Joker's heavy sarcasm. What are your quirks? Seeing as I told you mine, my quirk is tool arms, Izuku said. It allows me to manifest limbs with ingrown tools and weapons like hammers, screwdrivers, and even functioning chainsaws. That's pretty useful for our support department. Joker said as Hatsum stopped what she was doing and her head snapped towards him with a glint in her eyes. That would definitely help with creating inventions. Your turn, Hatsum, he said to her, causing her head to snap back around. My quirk is zoom. She pointed to her unique-looking eyes. It allows me to zoom with my eyes to see far away, and if I focus I can see up to 5 kilometers. It's very useful when working on my babies. Guess it's my turn. My quirk is outburst, forces others to laugh, which impairs their cognitive and motor skills. Izuku forcefully cut off the clown. Hey, it's not outburst. That's Ms. Joke's quirk. Not mine. Joker stood from his seat. Hey, why are all three of you ignoring me? Did you all just immediately accept the fact that outburst was my quirk? It's my appearance, isn't it? It's 'cause I look like a clown. Don't you all want to know my quirk? Guys? Izuku had said goodbye to Hatsum, Joker and Shinso after the day came to an end, and not before throwing up blood, shocking the three of them. As soon as he turned the corner, his head immediately dived into his hands. Oh my god! He softly cursed into his hands as he slowly lifted his head. I actually had fun. He shook the thoughts out of his head. He wasn't here for fun. He was here to kill All Might. His head went back into his hands as he thought about how he made friends with the clown, the brainwasher, and the gadget fanatic. Wait a second, she had pink hair and yellow eyes. Mina also had pink hair and yellow eyes. Wait, did that mean he had a thing for pink-haired girls with yellow eyes? No, his eye peeked through his hands with a serious look. This was no time for messing around. It was time to get serious and do what he came here to do. Sludge, green sludge moved through the school building after appearing out of a tap in the teacher's lounge. An eye opened as it looked around the empty room. It slowly moved towards the desk and rose to overlook the desks. It was looking for something specific. It looked at 2 files for Class A and Class B freshmen. Found you, hero class. He spoke lowly to the files. He couldn't take them without the staff freaking out, but he did have a way to send the information back. He made copies. The school was abandoned at night, with no heroes in sight aside from those who might be in the teachers' dormitories. He wasn't going to risk getting caught now, but he needed the files to make plans. He stopped as he took the files with the intention of copying them. Then afterwards, where he copied them from a safe location, he would drop them off, all in the same night and through the same way. As he held the files with his human hands as to not dirty them, he smirked. Killing All Might was soon to become a reality. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey today. I hope you enjoyed exploring the fascinating what-if scenario of Deku. The possibilities were truly mind-blowing. If you found this video entertaining and thought-provoking, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Your support means the world to me and inspires me to bring you more captivating content in the future. Stay tuned for more exciting what-if stories and other amazing videos coming your way. Until next time, take care, stay curious, and keep embracing the power of imagination.